welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Airguns. In this episode we're talking to a very special person in the Benchrest community, Mr. Matt Gleaves. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks
nice to
very
meet
much.
you, eventually. I've seen you a few times at the shows and stuff, but never really got a chance to talk to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a bit about Matt and how he got into Benchrest, and then I'm going to beat him at a Benchrest comp between us both. Fingers crossed. Right, so tell me a bit about your background, Matt, and how you got into Benchrest and what desired you to do it and take it to the level that you've brought it to with AirAbility.
Well, I've shot all my life since I was about 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Started off with a pair of Webley Tempests, you know.
God, yeah.
From my dad, and a Crossman 766, you know, the pump-up one.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest, I went through into my 20s. I had a Theobald Scirocco at one point.
Yeah.
You know, one of the first air arms, PCPs, what was it, the Chamal or something?
Chamal, yeah.
Yeah,
God, they're all now, aren't they?
So I had a few of that stuff, and then then to be honest, I found American pool, and I went off and I played pool for about 20 years. Went around the world, represented Great Britain 3 times at the European Championships, and kind of got a bit bored with that. And my daughter picked up air pistol shooting, and we followed her around the country at tournaments for about 9 years. And then COVID came, and I got a bit bored, so went to Ratworks, bought myself this rifle, which has been massively customised over the last 5 years. And I basically spent the first 2 years of COVID in the shed. And if you get that much practice, you've got to turn out all right, haven't you?
Yeah, it won't do too bad, would you?
Yeah.
So I take it when you say you practice, you mean you must practice like every day, every other day, do you? Most days trying, yeah.
So, when it's warm enough, at least a tin of pellets a week.
Yeah.
So probably shoot 30,000 a year.
Quite a few then.
Yeah.
So where did the idea for AirAbility come from? How did that come about?
Well,
and was it a particular moment that sparked it, or?
Yeah, well, it's all a bit COVID related, to be honest.
Is it?
And a bit boring. Sadly, my mum passed away with COVID.
Right. Okay. So.
And I just thought, now if it's the time to do something, now's the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I'm 55 now. You know what I mean? My athletic career might be coming to a close. You know. So, and what I noticed was the indoor 10-metre community supported wheelchair athletes and disabled athletes very well, because it's easy to do indoors. But outdoors, I only ever saw myself. So, and there were people interested in my journey on the internet already, and AirAbility just came from that. And I'll be honest with you, it's been crazy.
I've followed it quite closely, to be fair. You're advisor of obviously what you've done and things and everything, and you really are changing the sport for good, really, what I've seen. You play a big part in Benchrest UK, don't you, as well, and we're actually going to be hosting a Benchrest UK comp down here in August, which Matt's going to come and shoot as well, and I might try and have a little go at it if he lets me, but if I'm good enough, that is.
I just really want to help. I'll be honest with you, there's with any sport, there's an awful lot of advice out there. Some of it's right, some of it's wrong. A lot of it's just my take on things. Yeah. But I like to talk about things that work for me.
Yeah.
Hoping it'll work for other people.
So you have entered quite a few competitions and you've won quite a few medals. That obviously comes from all the practice that you do as well. Is there a standout, competition that you've won that you think, that's the one?
Well, not that I've won. I know this sounds daft, but when I first started on the Benchrest tour, you have a couple of events that you think, wow, this is, what am I even doing here? Yeah. You know what I mean? And there was one event where I came fourth.
Can it be quite daunting when you first start then?
Yeah. But I got fourth in this event and I thought, I can do this. And at that point, that was probably
was that the turning point?
My happiest event was when I came fourth.
Yeah.
So I've been doing all right since then.
You've not done bad, have you?
and the last, I think, 4 seasons, I've only been off the podium one event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad going then. About AirAbility, for those who don't know about it, can you please explain a bit about it?
Yeah. So AirAbility is predominantly a Facebook group and a YouTube channel, and we like to try and make it a very inclusive airgun community where people with physical issues can get a little bit of help from people with experience to get them into the sport. And what I found when I first started talking about my journey in the sport, everybody was completely interested in my wheelchair, how I did things and things like that. But now I'm doing all right at it. People are more interested in the technical aspect rather than what or who I am. Do you know what I mean? And they want help with how to shoot. But I'm there for. I try to help everybody that needs it really, and people. I get rung off the missus under the bedclothes at night at 3 o'clock in the morning, typing to somebody in America about how to make a bench for the wheelchair to fit underneath and things like that.
I think it's great. I think it's really good, obviously, what you've done and what your journey and where you're coming to and everything.
But I've met some great friends.
You do, yeah. It's a good sport to be in, Matt. You do meet a lot of, no matter what discipline you do meet friends for life. And since I've opened this place, and we've got like a bit of a community down here of people that you probably wouldn't normally mix with in day-to-day situations and life and stuff, and you could become best friends, don't you? It's all for the love of the sport that we do together.
They've become part of my daily life.
Yeah.
And to think these people weren't they're so integral in my life, I can't believe they weren't 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm.
So let's talk a bit about rifles.
Right.
How many Benchrest rifles have you got? 'Cause I've just heard you said you've got 2 the same a minute
2,
ago.
that's all I've got.
Oh, you only use the 2, and they're both identical handshots, is it?
Well, as close as I can get them. So I call them the Tangerine Dream Team. And they both handshots 9015s.
Yeah.
They've got.
Can you just hold that up and show everybody? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Just have a talk a bit
It's
about
got
it.
safety flagging.
Yeah. Yeah. For anyone that's not. So that's obviously, who made your Benchrest stock for that, Matt?
That's Tilly Gunstocks, Tommy Bennett.
Yeah.
Great friend of mine. He's if you look on my YouTube channel, I do a podcast with him.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, last night we were recording a podcast and talking to him about his stocks and his YouTube channel as well. We were all at it, aren't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a Tommy Bennett stock, and he's made me 2 of these now. A funny story is that he keeps getting asked for people message him and go, "We want a Matt Gleaves stock, can you make me one exactly like Matt Gleaves?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "I don't think that's right for you." And he goes, "No, we want one like Matt Gleaves." And he goes, "Do you know that Matt Gleaves is 4 foot and left-handed? And if we gave gave you a stock like that, you would be complaining."
True.
But so it's a Anschutz 9015.
Yeah.
I've got, Anschutz kindly gave me some of their special factory barrels last year.
Nice. Yeah.
So that was a beautiful gift. So both of them have one of them in.
Yeah.
And they've been tuned by Simon Howarth. You might have heard Tench.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. When I been to Somerset last week, I've got a Ratworks tuned HW100 with Tench again.
Yeah.
And the consistency of it is just unbelievable. Really good.
And it's got it's called the junior cylinder.
Is there a reason why you went for that? Is it just
weight?
Yeah.
Saving weight.
Okay.
And Falcon, I've got a Falcon X15, it's a big FT scope, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's
why have you gone for that scope personally? Is it just because better lenses, better clarity, or what made you choose that one?
To be honest, I shot with a sight run.
Yeah.
For 3 seasons now at the S3 45/45.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been talking to Falcon for a while, and they sponsored me with a scope for my unlimited rifle.
Right.
And we just got talking, and he said, "Try one of these," and
just worked.
It worked. So what I will say is, this gun, there's nothing on here that doesn't work. How can I explain this? It's all about the points.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, it's in the box of shame, as I say.
Can you explain to me, because I noticed you said there's a silencer on this one.
Yeah.
You made that silencer, did you say?
I customised it, yes.
Customised it. So why have you put a silencer and not an airstrip on it?
Right. So first of all, I've got my own range at home.
Yep.
And
got to keep the bark down for the neighbours.
I shot about 20 kilograms of lead during COVID. Right.
Okay.
So there might have been a complaint to the council.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. But then boredom kicked in, and I thought I could make this more accurate.
Yeah.
And this is an old Swift Stumpy silencer. Right. They're not made anymore. Yeah. And there's about 4 of them joined together here.
Hi.
So I scoured the second-hand market and I bought as many as I could.
Yeah.
I even wrote to the guy who made them, and he sent me his old prototype parts. And what I've done is, it's modular. And inside there's different wadding for sound suppression.
Yeah.
There's air strippers inside.
Is it?
And there's a weight system at the end, so I can use it as a barrel tuner.
Right, okay.
So it's, so
I've seen it says original as well on the front of it as well, underneath for some of your liturgy gone up. So that's the original one that
That's
you did.
the OG.
Yeah.
So I've got 3.
Yeah.
And I've got 1, and the 3rd one's in the safe.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, seriously, because
no, I don't blame you.
I can't build them again. I've run out of parts.
Yeah, and keep them safe then.
Yeah.
Continue on about your gun then, about your handshots. What pellets do you design? Well, obviously, what pellets do you use, and do you think, obviously, I shoot JSB, Barrates, QYS in my rifles. I seem to find them to be the 3 brands that most barrels like.
Yeah.
What I think obviously you're sponsored by H&N now. You've got their shooting team, aren't you?
So they've sponsored me 3 years now.
Yeah.
All I can say is every medal I've won with a Barracuda FT.
Is it Barracuda FTs? Yeah.
Yes. So I am. So
do you find it a bit easier with them being 9 grain as opposed to 844, or does it make a difference? Obviously, when you're outside the wind and things.
So my personal experience.
Yeah.
I find there's a lot of chatter on the internet, isn't about batches. I just pick the next tin out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what batch numbers and they go.
Yeah. I find the extremely consistent.
Yeah.
So that's what I like.
So it doesn't really matter what batch number you get. You just.
For me, I find it the within a certain bandwidth that you could shoot a competition with.
Yeah.
You do get the odd better one, but there's no rubbish.
Yeah.
So I approached them about 3 or 4 years ago, and I can remember a really awkward email, and they wrote back and they said, I don't think I even said what I wanted. And he wrote back and said, what exactly do you want?
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's led to it can only be described as a friendship with H&N, and they've been lovely. But I find when it comes to how they work, for me, this is where they work in the wind.
Yeah.
The hold-off's very predictable, and I think we score show that it's not like I'm pushing something that doesn't work.
Have you tried? So obviously about the FTs and the Barrates, have you? Can you tell a difference massively between them both when you shoot them at competition level, or
the Barracuda?
Yeah, Barracuda. Yeah, because I shoot them quite a lot in most of my rifles for hunting, and obviously down here when I'm.
Well, first of all, it's different barrels, different guns.
Yeah, obviously.
I've had some guns that just wouldn't shoot an FT.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I've got some guns that won't shoot other brands.
Yeah.
But I find that with the Barracuda 8, I do prefer the heavier pellet.
Yeah.
Because most of the ranges, if I was indoors, I think I would, or on a sheltered range, I'd probably concentrate a bit more with a Barracuda 8.
Yeah.
But I like the weight, and I like the fact that it's a predictable, hold off in the wind.
Yeah. Right. So, next question is, what challenges do you see for disabled people trying to get into the sport as such? I mean, like we spoke about how we're going to adapt the club to be more disabled friendly for people, because it's a sport that everyone should have access to, and I never really thought down here that we'd have that many people disabled wanting to come shoot, but we do, and I've made little improvements already, but obviously I want to take that to the next level so that everyone can use the facilities, because we have got, like you said earlier, we have got a great facility down here.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So how, is there anything that that we could do as well to help more, or to help more people, or?
So I think mud, gravel, and attitude. I think are the 3 things. I think it's people are not nasty. People are not trying to exclude people.
Yeah.
It's because their own experiences doesn't lead them to think I need a ramp here. Or I need a pavement here.
Yeah.
Because you've never needed it, or somebody else has never needed it. And what I find is, first of all, is the smallest adjustment. It might not make something accessible for everybody, but it can make it accessible for a lot of people, which I think is fantastic. And the other thing is I do find that on the whole, and I mean the vast majority here, clubs will bend over backwards to do things to get people who need a little extra help into the clubs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do come across the odd club who just doesn't. Yeah. And I can't understand why, and then you get all these weird things about we do it because of the safety aspect and things like that. And I'm not being cheeky, I'm pretty well known on the tour. You know what I mean? I shoot well, and I've had that said about me. You know what I mean? And I've probably got more shooting experience than the club put together. But overall, the love of the sport with people at clubs, I go on there, and there's clubs like Chippenham, they ripping doorways out before I arrived in case I couldn't fit. You know what I mean? Gleaves, all the ones on the tour, Derby, Portishead. Portishead's known for the best disabled lift in the Benchrest community. You know what I mean? And fantastic disabled toilet and stuff like that. But it's getting better, and for a sport that it was essentially in mud huts. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's starting to get sorted.
Yeah. That's good because obviously, when I set out to develop this, I wanted to get as many people into the sport as I believe we can physically get into it, because I think some of the disciplines are like a dying discipline. I spoke to Warren Edwards about this in the first episode we did. You don't see a lot of people wanting to go into shooting FT. There's a lot of different reasons about that. I think obviously probably the cost of the rifles and getting up and down like we spoke about. I used to shoot a lot of HFT, and then I played rugby for 13 years and didn't want to be rolling around in mud anymore, so that's why I chose to shoot sticks, and I really enjoy shooting sticks.
Well, I think bench and sticks and that, it's about keeping people in the sport longer, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Great.
There's a lot of longevity in it, because when you're Benchrest shooting, I've seen the amount of gear you bring with you and some of the other guys, but other than that, it's like, you can come and you can sit here for hours and shoot away your targets and practice, can't you? And it's not a very stressful discipline to be shooting, is it?
I would say not physically.
No, mentally probably, but not.
It ruins a good day out, doesn't it?
Sometimes. Especially get a bit more wind on here, then you'll be struggling a bit. So next question is then, if you could give some advice to anybody wanting to get into Benchrest to start off with, what would it be?
Find an online community you can trust.
Yep. Benchrest UK being one.
Yeah, Benchrest UK. AirAbility. They're pretty much hand in hand on Facebook. Yeah. I try and, if people want to talk to me personally over Facebook Messenger, much to my wife's annoyance, I'm up till about 2 in the morning answering questions. I don't mind that, because I'd rather get somebody in the sport and have somebody feel isolated. Yeah. You know what I mean? The other advice is don't underestimate the value of practice.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Someone once showed me is, if you train hard, when it comes to playing it's easy. And I think that's very true in a lot of senses in a lot of sports. The harder you train, when it comes to doing the actual event, it makes should be a life a bit easier, because you put all that effort into training and put all that backroom bit in. And obviously it shows with you what you've achieved as well, with the amount of time you practice and stuff.
Well, I think from talking to the guys, I practice a lot more than other people. Yeah. And people also ask me, what does all that practice give you? 1 point. It's not, but that's all you need, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah. It's like any sport, it's like extra 1%. If you've got that extra 1% that you've put the effort in, you've got that extra 1% over me, over everybody, over your competition. So let's say, aren't you?
But so never underestimate the value of practice, and make evidence-based decisions. And what I mean by that is, look at what other people are using, look at what other people are winning with, and take advice from the people who are doing well. Yeah. Because I always joke that opinions are like backsides. Everybody's got one.
Of course they are. Yeah,
you know what I mean? And you've got to choose who you. You've got to choose wisely.
Yeah. So, what would be? Say I've been messaging you. Might have been talking to you quite a while. Say on Facebook, whatever. Been talking out to get into sport, and I say, right, Matt, what's a really nice entry-level rifle I can use for Benchrest that's not going to break the bank and scope? What would your opinion be, or what would your advice be for me to go out and buy?
Well, if you're talking new, we're talking new, yeah?
New or second-hand, anything really, yeah.
So, second-hand, you've got to be careful.
Yeah,
because they always say nobody sells a winning gun.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? But you can get good value out there. Yeah. If you're buying new, the thing is I'll have to be honest with you, Benchrest is like the Formula One of airgun sport, and it costs. Yeah. But you're probably talking around about. You say, can I just talk about the price of this and then
of course explain? You can, yeah.
So if you were starting off, you get something like a HFT 500. Yeah. Which are probably about 1,400 quid now, are they?
Yeah. Around about that.
Yeah. So that would be your base rifle. Then you'd probably get something like a Vector Sentinel X scope, about 200 quid. You're up to 1,500 quid. Yeah. And you think you're there. You know what I mean? You're nearly there, right? But you've got a front rest that can be another 1,500 quid. But these things, you buy them once, they're for life. Yeah. They really are. And then you've got your back bag, and a good one couple £100 up.
Yeah.
Right, but this is all stuff.
So we're talking about £2,500, you reckon, for a basic one?
Well, you can get basic rests for about £300-400, but
Can you?
if you want like a setup that's going to be competitive,
You could compete with,
you can compete for about £2,500.
Yeah.
You could be in the middles, probably closer to about 4.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, look at it.
You've got your air bottles as well, haven't you?
Yeah,
you know,
there's a lot more things.
And you win flags.
Yeah, a lot of people say to me about like hunting setups and things like that. It's a bit different, obviously. And HFT is a bit different. You can pick an AirArms S400 second hand off Gun Trader for what, £400. You can get a cheap scope for what, another £200. So you're probably talking, if you said like £800 with including a bottle, you can quite easily get into an entry level package to enter a HFT, which I think quite a lot of people do that, and then that you see other guns and you want other guns like you just said, and you talked about other people and you move on to something else, and then they'll probably end up coming into Benchrest or something else, don't they? I think that's how it kind of snowballs a bit and comes round, doesn't it, I suppose?
But I think the best transitional rifles, one of the AirArms ones, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
You can be knocking down tin chickens one day with it, and you can put a front block on it another day, and you can be having a go at Benchrest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what I will say is, at some point, if you like Benchrest, you have to go specialist.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, what's the one bit of kit that you couldn't live without at the range? Is it the pork pies?
Well, on a Saturday morning, it's
the brown sauce.
Yeah, no. Brown sauce is criminal, and anybody who uses brown sauce needs to be taken away for a long time. Shocking. One thing I can live without.
Couldn't live without.
Couldn't live without. Nothing. We have that much gear as a Benchrest shooter. So you change my wind flags, I'm stuffed.
Yeah.
You change my scope, my pellets, my rifle, my silencer.
Stuff.
It's all part of this like integrated web of getting things accurate.
So we've got to have everything. Then there's that one bit that can't live without.
Or I'll go home in a sulk. Yeah, pretty much.
So, a bit about Camelots. That obviously, I know this is your first time down here. Is there something that you've seen that you like the most, or?
It's a shooting range. That's a winner for me, really. I think what I instantly thought was, it's you can see it's made by a shooter, 4 shooters.
Yeah.
There's it just looks friendly. You've got different clientele in at different times of the day, haven't you?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? There's plenty of people to talk to here, but it's not packed out.
Yeah.
You're not going to be waiting 2 hours to shoot. I love the conditions already. You've got uninterrupted land around you, which allows the wind to roam freely and strong, which it's fantastic. I think it's, you're going places, really, aren't you?
I'd like to think I've developed something that's, like you said, people when they come, they do kind of say a lot of people have enjoyed it and they do like it, and there's not a lot around here like it, which is what I've created, which is pretty good. So going on to the next one then, what would your dream shooting location be? Indoors, outdoors? What do you find the most challenging?
I get bored indoors.
Yeah.
Really quickly. I call indoor shoot. I'm going to get lynched here, aren't I? I call
we'll bleep it out.
I call indoor shooting pellet testing.
It is, I believe
to be honest.
Yeah.
Once you've got your gear set up,
yeah,
and you're not in the high 20x's,
yeah,
you need to have a word.
Yeah.
But it's what I like is what I love is competitions. When you come off the range and there are people just looking at the sky going, why me? Because of the weather conditions. And you've done all right. And I like, the more I have to concentrate, the harder, the tougher it is.
Yeah.
I like
that's what we spoke about, mentally challenging. Yeah.
So my dream location would be somewhere that has external wind, challenging things, and a nice heater. It
gets a bit fresh, doesn't it, sometimes? So, last question then, before I beat you at this little Benchrest comp we're going to do is what's your proudest moment you've had so far in shooting?
Well, it's shooting related.
Yeah.
I was on this year's New Year's honours list.
Yeah.
So I got a British Empire medal this year. So next week I'm off down to see the King.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, dear me, yeah. I can't believe that.
Well, say hello from me when you see him.
all I want to do is sneak my AirAbility hat in.
Yeah.
But Sharon said no.
Ain't you got a little badge or something?
I was going to go and just, just slide it on, But I think that will be my proudest moment.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, the proudest moments are just enjoying it. I'm not like, I'd be lying if I said I don't like to win, but I like to win with friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Right then. So what we'll do now is we'll get some cards out, and I'll get my old Ripley out and see if she's obviously set up for FT.
Oh, here we go. The excuse.
Yeah, I'm going to get it too sorry. Set up for FT.
Have you never shot her before neither?
I've never shot her, Matt.
Yeah.
So
don't worry, I'll shoot left-handed.
You shoot left-handed, then I'll. But yeah, right, okay. Let's have a go.
20 minutes then. Here we go.
Right, so we're going to do a quick comp then between me and Matt for 20 minutes. I'm shooting the GSB Exacts 844s. Matt's shooting the Barra Cuda FTs that are 9.57 grains. And I'm using my Ripley AR5S. The old girl got her out for this little challenge, and Matt's using his hand shot. So, are you ready, Matt? Let's go. Bearing in mind, guys, I've never shot Benchrest before. It's going to be quite technical.
Dear God, wine. Oh, right, where are we at?
God, I'm shaking.
X. It wasn't.
X. Trying to get used to this brake system a bit. We have got quite a nice day down here. Isn't that much wind, is it, a minute, Mate? It's not too bad.
I don't know, it's making a mess of me.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I've never shot here before, mate, so I haven't really,
Oh, not much experience.
Not much experience in it now.
Alright.
Oh. That one was bad.
Oh.
That was really bad. I didn't even score that then.
I think we both caught the window, didn't we? Yeah.
Somewhat come across, didn't it? On again. Tough hell. Something's happened. I can see why it's appealing, this. Why obviously people like it. Because it is very challenging, isn't it?
Yeah. This is a pretty low scoring card, like. But Like I say, you only need 1 point, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you got a technique that you go through then, Matt? When you before you take shots and stuff? Because like, I'm just taking these shots willy-nilly kind of thing, and I know that we've got the wind flags out. And do you ever glance at your flags first and?
Constant. So I it's like.
That a routine you go through?
I look through both eyes simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the flags and the reticle.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I'm shooting probably. I'm just relaxed. You're having a nice shoot. Usually take about 15 minutes to shoot a card.
Yeah.
I think we're about 5 minutes in now, and I'm
Halfway
pretty
through.
much nearly done.
Right.
No, I've got 2. Yeah, I'm halfway through. You're right.
I've done atrocious on mine, I'm not going to lie, so I hope you've...
So I'm aiming out into the blue ring to hit the ball.
Yeah, that's what I've just been doing then. My last 2 shots that went wayward, I'm aiming in the blue ring on the left-hand side for the wind.
Yeah. What you're looking for as a Benchrest shooter is repeatable wind patterns that you can shoot in the same place again and again.
Yeah.
So you study the wind. That's why you've got 20 minutes. You might actually shoot your card in about 6.
Yeah. It's just obviously learning about the patterns of the wind and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people think this is easy because your rifle's clamped up and...
Clamped? It's not clamped.
Sorry, go on.
Everybody says it's clamped.
It's not clamped then.
It has to move freely.
What's the correct word for it then?
It's just got to move freely in the rest.
Sorry, rested, yeah, not clamped, rested.
Yeah.
See, that was 1 mil that across for me, that I didn't allow enough then.
To be honest, that's one of my biggest problems shooting. Not holding off enough.
And that one. I'm going to give it a little bit more on this shot, I reckon. About there.
Ho ho ho!
You get an X.
So that's, I've just done what's every Benchrester's nightmare, where you hold off for the wind and your pellet goes where the crosshairs are pointing. it's like every Benchrest's nightmare, that.
Alright, that's me done.
I'm on my last row. Oh, you shot fast. But lads are going to laugh at this card. They really are. Oh, dear me. Right.
Are we good?
Yeah, I'm good. There you go.
Right then, so we'll go and get the cards in now and see who won. Right, so these are results. Obviously I won. I got 250 and 25 X's. Matt, what did you get?
can tell you, I didn't get 250 nor 25 X's out there to really challenge him. I came in with a 237.
And I didn't even score mine because I only shot 24 out of 25 for some reason, because I'm an idiot, and I also missed the target twice because of the wind. So we'll just do that with this, and I'll allow Mr. Phillips another target card for that. But really enjoyed it today, Matt. Thank you very much for coming down and being this episode of Let's Talk Airgun with me, and thank you for beating me, even though you did drop some points. But
yeah, I've dropped a whole tournament's worth of points there on one card.
So you're going to have to get plenty of practice in before August.
I am.
You're more than welcome to come down and use the facility whenever you want as well.
Thank you very much. And I think I will, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's got a very particular, wind conditions down here, which, I always say you should practice in as many different places as you can.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll get my practice in and see if I can get any better at Benchrest as well.
See you
but
next year.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Matt. Much appreciated. Cheers.
Thanks
Thanks a lot, guys.